morning, Mr. O'Keefe. I'm Joe Guerrero, your medical assistant. I'm going to get you ready for your consultation with Dr. King.
Oh, your timing's perfect. I just finished filling out this form that Ellen gave me.
Good. That answers my first question. Come with me into the examination room. Before you see Dr. King, she's asked me to go over these forms with you, answer any of your questions, and follow up on any of your answers that may need elaboration, okay? All right. I see that Ellen has filled in your name and address and your insurance data and that you checked them off. My going over this with you before you see Dr. King, make sure that we have all the correct information and that nothing of importance escapes us. We find that this process makes our care for our patients better and more efficient. I'm really looking forward to being part of your primary healthcare team.
Great. Feeling better already.
Okay. Now, in your family history, your parents and your two sisters are alive and well. How old are your parents?
They're both 62 and they're patients of Dr. Lewis over at the other office.
Good. We like to be a real family practice. So you have a wife and two youngsters.
Yeah, they were in last week. We think we're going to have another baby.
That's great. Hey, I hope they're as healthy as you. Apart from the mumps and some sore throats when you were a kid, you've been extraordinarily well until recently. Have you ever been in the military?
That was my career. I served in Desert Storm, and they kicked me out when the Russians went belly up.
Tough. What are you doing now?
I'm helping my father run his travel agency. Well, at least I get a few cheap trips out of the deal, right?
Let's see. When you were in the Marines, did you ever find yourself in a situation where you were at risk for AIDS or some other sexually transmitted disease?
No. I'm a one-woman guy, and apart from Saudi Arabia, Mary and the kids are with me most of the time.
Now, you say that your troubles in the past 3 to 4 weeks have been persistent low back pain, lower abdominal pain. Did these symptoms appear all of a sudden?
No, they get gradually worse over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And now it's stopping me jogging.
Have you had any previous back injury or problem?
No.
Any previous abdominal pain?
No, none at all.
Has your weight changed?
Yeah, I put on about 15 pounds, I guess, since I left the service. We eat a lot of my mother's, and she cooks up a storm.
All right, well, let's weigh you and take your blood pressure, and then you'll be ready to see Dr. King, okay?
This isn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Let's go.
This is how the chart will look after Joe has finished. After checking the patient's basic demographic information, the patient's family history is obtained. This includes details of any illnesses occurring in 2 or more family members, the current status of the patient's parents, siblings, spouse, and children. The next section is the patient's previous medical history or past history. This includes childhood illnesses, other physical and mental problems, injuries, disabilities, allergies, medications taken, and habits such as alcohol, tobacco, drugs, exercise, and sleep. For a woman, the menstrual and childbearing histories are also taken and recorded. In many offices, the patient's personal history is recorded. This details the key or unusual elements in a patient's life that can affect his or her health status. The final section of the medical history form details the reasons why the patient came to see the doctor today. It includes the patient's chief complaint, often in the patient's own words and recorded in quotation marks, and such information as the time when the symptoms first occurred, whether they have ever occurred before, whether they are worsening, what makes them better, what the patient has done to remedy the problem, and finally, any other problems the patient has noticed.
Who's next for me, Joe?
John O'Keefe, he's a new patient. You already met his wife and 2 kids, and his parents are patients of Dr. Lewis at the other office.
I remember Mary, Marissa, and Chris. What's John got?
Well, he's complaining of persistent low back pain over the past few weeks with no acute onset, and he's having spasmodic lower abdominal pain. It's interesting that he's just been discharged from the Marines against his wishes, and he's now working for his father, which he never intended to do. They have a 12-month-old in the house, which isn't an indicator of a good night's rest, and he's thinks that his wife may be pregnant again. His BP's all right, 120/72.
Well, it sounds like he has a lot of stress and frustration going on. When I've examined him, I'll let you know if that's the answer.
Okay.